Hi everybody, it's Alyce-Kay Ruckelshaus from Threshold of Hineni, and I'm here to talk about another blessing. And before I draw one out of the basket, I just wanted to say this is really helping me. This is helping me so much. I don't record these every day. I actually haven't recorded anything for probably a little bit over a week because I had done several a day for a while. And the reason for that is because I didn't want it to become a stressful thing where, oh no, I have to record something today. So I figure if I just stay ahead of it, then it's going to be more enjoyable. But what I do is, actually what that's doing for me is that I'm able to have each of these things affect me at least 3 times. First of all was when I thought of it and wrote it down, which some of them, I mean, I've still been writing things down like this one here. I'm still writing them as I think of them. I could tell that this one was a new one because it's got handwriting that's coming through and the others are typed. But also, so writing it out the first time and then drawing it out and recording it. So I'm really talking about it. And then what I do is each day I listen to the one that was posted for that day. When I put them on YouTube, I tell them what day I want them to post so that they come out one day at a time. And so you're not overwhelmed with like 7 at one time. And so then I watch it that day, and then that's the thing that I really focus on is the thing that was posted for that day. And it has helped so much. The last few days I have noticed that I've actually been able to think about memories of Bill and me and not cry. I've actually been able to smile. I do miss him, and sometimes I still do cry. I still cry every day, some because I miss him. That hasn't changed. I haven't cried yet today, actually, and it's a little bit after 7. I might make it through the whole day. Who knows? It's okay if I cry. I'm not saying that that's bad, but I'm just saying it's nice to not cry all the time. It's really nice, and I do still feel like I'm a little bit depressed, and that's probably just going to go on for a while. I don't know. But I'm trying not to be too concerned about it. I'm not like horribly depressed to the point that I'm not functional. In fact, I've been getting a lot more done in the last couple days than I have in the last 10 months. So any one day in the last 10 months. And I'm thinking a little bit more clearly too, which that's a really big deal for me. In fact, I've been working through a study book with a workbook and everything, and I'll share about that a different time. But that's helped a lot. And so like I have been sitting outside for my lunch most of the time, not always, but most of the time. It's getting hot, so I don't know, I may not be able to do that forever. But it's just, I feel like I'm getting a lot better. So I think that this has really helped. Okay, so without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pull out another one to talk about. I just draw these out without checking ahead of time. My parents. I just got off the phone with my parents. So that's pretty good. My parents, I called my mom's phone, and of course my dad was there too, while the trooper was here after telling me that Bill had died. And, she said right away, we're going to come. And so they took a few days because they were coming from Minnesota. And and I kept saying, please don't drive too far, because my husband had just been killed in a car accident driving on a long trip. He hadn't gone very far, he had only gone a couple hours, but it just made me nervous, and I still am nervous when people that I know are going to be driving on a trip. It still makes me edgy, and I'm really having to learn to put people in God's hands, because obviously I can't ask everybody to not travel or drive or anything. But it does make me really nervous whenever somebody that I know and care about is going to be driving very far. So anyway, so they came down, and I think that they got here. His accident was on Sunday, and I think they got here Thursday. I'm not sure about that, but I think that's when they got here. So we had the weekend, and then Monday they took me up to where the accident was. We went to the site of the accident, and we went to the highway patrol station. And that was good. It was really good. I did a separate video about the troopers, so I'm not going to talk about that now. And we went a few other places too. I think the hospital. Oh, we went to the mortuary. But my parents stayed for 2 months, and that meant a lot. I'm sure it was not easy on them. You know, who wants to be around somebody who's sad all the time, for one thing? My mom helped me assemble a lot of stuff, and my dad helped with a lot of really good advice and stuff. And he had stuff he had to work on too. But they stayed for that whole time, and that was just really good. It was really hard for me when they left, because it really helped having them here. I think that it kind of softened not the blow, but the grieving process. I was home alone for the first few days, and all I did was cry and scream, and it was just awful. And I'm not really sure how long that would have gone on if they hadn't come. It's very hard for me to cry in front of people, and so having them here kind of helped stop me from crying. And so it was just really good. I think that I felt closer to my parents than I have in a long time, because of spending all that time together. Not necessarily because of the circumstances, but because we were just together a lot. They had their motorhome because my mom was walking across the U.S. and my dad was being her support vehicle. And so they had their motorhome, so they stayed over at the local KOA. So I was here alone at night, which was fine. I think it was actually, I think sometimes you need some alone time when you're grieving, and so that was good. But then they were here for most of the day. And I think that like one day a week, maybe Sundays, I think it was Sundays, that they didn't come over. We each did our own thing. I went to church. No, I wasn't going to church yet at that point. We just kind of, did our own thing for that day. I think Sundays, I was still working at night on Friday and Saturdays, so I was really exhausted on Sundays and just like not much good to be with, even if things had been good circumstances. So we had decided that Sundays they wouldn't come over, and that gave them some space too, because I'm sure that being with me was not super pleasant. We did have some fun. My mom and I assembled a lot of stuff, and we had a lot of fun with that. We laughed a lot because we, two women assembling stuff, trying to understand the silly directions that they put with things was really crazy. But so this is really funny because it's like when I drew that out, my parents, I thought, oh man, how could I keep this down under half an hour? There's just not a lot to say because it was just them being here. That's what was just really important and really comforting. I just needed my mommy and daddy, and it was just, and they loved Bill. They had met him a few times and they just absolutely loved him and he adored them. And so, it was hard for them too, losing him. So anyway, I guess that's all that I have to say. There's just so much that you can't put into words about some things. And a lot of it was just them being here, just being. And there's not really much you can say about that, but that was a big thing. 2 months of having them here was huge, 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 huge. I could have handled having them here a lot longer, because it just was so helpful, emotionally, physically, everything. Having somebody to be able to think for you was really, really helpful because it was very hard for me to think. Up until very recently, like in the last week or so, it's been very hard for me to think. I finally feel like the fog is clearing a little bit. No, I feel like the fog is clearing. It's not cleared completely, but it is definitely clearing. It's still hard for me. Like I have a hard time like just reading the Bible and trying to understand it. So I'm using things that other people have written or I'm watching sermons. But I'm pretty sure that what I'm writing in my book right now is pretty good. So I feel like I'm really coming out of the fog and making a lot of progress on that. And I really, really think, you guys, that doing this, sharing about the ways that God's gotten me through and sharing about the blessings and really kind of reframing my mind for this time has been super, super helpful in that. So if you're going through a struggle, maybe even just any kind of depression, I don't know, but try this. It's helped a lot. It's helping me a lot. And who knows, it might not help you, but it might help you. And yeah, it's been good. All right, I love you all. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.